Hey, everybody, welcome to Midwest Paratalk Radio. I am Greg, that is Deb, and we have our guest with us tonight. Let me unmute everybody because, that would be so much better for a radio show, for the love of God.
Right.
We got with us Johnny V. Now, Johnny V, he and I go way back. We were talking yesterday, and it seems like what we said, 20, almost 20 years that we've known each other. And you've kind of been with me on the whole paranormal quest, and we've talked about it multiple times. And formal introductions, Johnny V. This is Deb, Johnny V. Of course, we did that before.
Hello.
The whole mystique of the whole thing.
Okay.
But so he kind of knows, where we are, and I've talked to him about our investigations and whatnot. And he mentioned, really, it was a couple weeks ago. He's like, dude, I've had some paranormal experiences.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's hear them.
All right.
Hold on.
I know.
Let me take another sip.
Yeah. I want to preface with he's never really opened up about his paranormal experiences to me until a couple weeks ago when we were talking. He's been, a guest in the chat and talking to us on a couple of shows ago, and he listens to us religiously through podcasts. I appreciate that, first off, man. I really do, and I'm glad that you're listening to us and having a good time. So
yes, totally.
John, yes, for sure. So let's start. I know a little bit of your story since, like I said, you and I talked.
Yeah.
But let's start from the beginning, and we'll just kind of, ramp it up from there.
Okay. Well, first of all, I wanted to say thanks for having me on. This is awesome. And I really enjoyed last week's episode with Jim. That was good. That was great.
Thank you.
But so I guess I could say it all really started with, at a very young age, 4, 5,
Well, that is young.
Yeah, like the shadow people. And we had talked about that previously, Greg, about how, I think that's like your basic haunting is because there's so many and they're everywhere. And you always you can catch them out of the corner of your eye, and I see those still to this day, actually, in this house. But, so like 4 or 5 years old, I used to see those quite often in the house I lived in with my mother. And I just kind of chalked it up to it's just one of those things. And I don't know if you guys know, but that's pretty freaking common.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Everybody's, oh, did you see that? Yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yep, that's pretty normal.
So I guess I'll say my mother has kind of like an intuitive / empathic kind of gift, and she's kind of tried to bestow that on me. And so I guess from the time I was a little kid till even today, I talked to my mom just the other day about being on the radio here with you guys, and she's like, yeah, I did that because when I'm gone, I want to make sure that you can still hear me, type stuff, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
Deb, you did the same thing with your mom, though, right? Because you asked her, like, when she passed, to
for sure,
give you a sign, and she did.
And she absolutely did. My late husband did as well. But yeah, my mom did. I asked her for, there's 4 kids in my family, but I was the only one she spoke to about passing away. This is when she had cancer, and we knew that she was going to go, pretty soon. And she did. And when I told my brothers and sisters, my brother and sister, they're like, well, she didn't come to me. And I'm like, did you ask her to?
Right.
Well, no. I said, if she had, would it not have scared the actual doo-doo out of you? And they're like, well, yeah. Well, why would your mom ever do something like that? Why would she do that to scare you? So, I'm totally there. I got it. Yeah.
You tell that story, and I think in my head, because she didn't like you.
No, it's not because I mean, they're like, well, why didn't she come and talk to me? I'm like, well, did you ask her to? You know,
Right.
I
Well,
mean, maybe you have to be literal in that next world there. I don't know.
well, and I really feel like it could be and probably is generational, or it
Mhm.
can even be taught. My grandmother, I never connected with her in that spiritual kind of manner, but my mother, when I lived in Texas, I would be sitting there and suddenly I would like hear call me in my head,
Yeah,
and I'd call my mom, and my mom's like, "Oh, you must have heard me," and I'm like,
that's cool. Yeah.
what the heck?" So I mean, my mother and I have that real special connection. Now my children, like I said, it's generational. I've tried to connect with
Hmm.
them. I've tried to be quite open with them about it, but it
Hmm.
just seems like maybe they missed that one. So,
Yeah.
and that's okay. That doesn't make them any less of good people or anything. It just,
It just is what it is.
yeah,
Well, are they may not be, it may be in them, but they may not be comfortable with it. I mean, I'm like you. I had that kind of special bond with my mom, different than the other kids, I think. And um, I have that with my sons, and I
yeah,
know they have the ability, but I
yeah,
also know that, and they're both grown men in their 40s, but
yeah.
I also know they're not as comfortable with it as I am.
Yeah.
And
So, maybe it'll come around sometime.
well, and my comfortability with it has waned and gained
Mhm.
here and there.
Yeah.
As when you become a teenager or early 20s, you kind of just, oh, I'm partying or
Yeah.
I'm doing my own thing, and whatever this is, it's gonna either wait or it's not real. Or I mean, I don't know how many times I've sat there and told myself, "Oh, wow, that's fake," and
Yeah.
and that's just me trying to comfort myself because I mean,
Mhm.
I can tell you multiple stories of when I was like 11 or 12 years old and we lived in this duplex. I told Greg this story the other day. They just bought me this new bed and it had like these cupboards I remember it because it was so cool because it had like the dresser under the bed, like the mattress
Oh,
laid
yeah.
on. So it was like a really cool bed. I was like,
Mhm.
wow, I was really excited to go to bed. And that Christmas, yeah, right. My parents were probably like, yes.
Right.
But they had gotten me that Christmas an Emerson radio, and I remember like I was listening to the radio. It was really soft. I was going to sleep, and I felt like something sat on my legs, and I was like, "Oh, that's just I had my eyes closed. I was like, oh, that's just my mom. She came in to watch me sleep. She used to do that kind of thing, like all good mothers do."
Mhm.
Right.
And then, I mean, the song that was playing was a particular song, and it was, my name. It was my name is Luca. I live on the second floor. And as it was saying, I live upstairs from you, I heard a voice right next to my head in my ear. And it was like, I live upstairs from you in a very raspy, un-Suzanne Vega-esque voice, you know. And I shot up from my bed and I looked, and of course, my mom's not there, but I felt this pressure on my legs the entire time. And I swear, in the covers over my legs was a perfect imprint of a butt.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, okay, cool. Not really, but here we are.
Yeah, here
you
we
know,
are. Now what?
so in that house, the closets would open by themselves, lights would flicker, the basement lights particularly would, and I believe when I talked to my mother about this the other day, she said that an old lady used to live there and she had passed in the house, which there we go. I mean, she was probably like, hey kid, guess what? I'm gonna mess with you. And
Right.
Yeah.
so
So when you were little and you would tell your mom, there's something under my bed, there's something in my closet. Did she ever give you oh, it's nothing, go back to bed?
no, heck no.
No.
Heck no. She was never one of those. If I told her something, and it's really weird because this is going to actually lead into another part of my story. I would come to her with things like that, and she would easily. It wasn't one of those, well, explain them away to get them back to bed thing. It's like, Mom, I'm
Yeah.
feeling really weird. There's something in my room. Okay, baby. Well, and you sleep here tonight, or
Mhm.
whatever the case may be. Or if I was feeling really uncomfortable in my bedroom, I would literally. My mom had like this water bed, and I would literally, and you know how water beds are, they got the base and then they got like the big thing around the base.
No,
And
I
I
had a
would like
couple in my day.
I would curl up under
What happened?
like the shelf of the waterbed and sleep right
Uh-oh.
there on her side of the bed, just because, like, oh man, my room is really freaking me out, or
I think my headset went out. Hold on.
uh-oh, uh-oh.
I can hear you
Yeah, right,
just
I can hear
fine.
him. But I mean, and I hope he doesn't miss it. I've told him a lot of this, but that leads me, into the fact that one night, I'm no by no means claiming I'm a medium, but I have
No, you're
kind
an
of
extra large.
yeah, right. No, I'm
He
4X,
can
dog.
hear
Let's
us
get
now.
real. Let's get real. I'm a 4X man, but but no, like there was one night where I told my mom, like right before bed, I'm like, Mom, somebody's gonna break in the house tonight. And it turns out
Damn.
that we literally had somebody break into the house. And my stepfather at the time had like this old Japanese rifle, and the dude stole the rifle, like, and left with
Oh,
it. And it was
Yikes.
literally that night. I was like, Mom, somebody's going to break in the house tonight. And it happened. It just so happens it was like my uncle, but still.
right. That's usually how it goes. Come on.
Yeah. But I mean,
I
but my
had
point,
one of those too. So.
But my point to that is, like, I didn't hear my uncle say, "Hey, I'm gonna break in there and steal that rifle tonight," or I didn't hear nothing like that. It was just I got this feeling, and I'm like, "Mom, this is gonna happen," and it did. And there's been another time or two that it's happened throughout my life. It's not something that happens like all the time, but every once in a while I'll get these feelings, and I'm like, something's about to happen, and it does, and I'm just
Then
like,
you
wow,
got it.
yeah.
You got that thing.
So, and like I said, my mom's been kind of grooming me since, I was little to
Hmm.
kind of use that. And she wants to make sure that when she is gone, that because my mother and I are really, really close. So, I mean, it was just me and her for the longest time. So, you know,
Oh,
thick
yeah.
as thieves, her and I.
right.
But
So now we had talked to uh tell us some more stories of what was going on, because you and we talked for a little bit and you told me quite a bit of stuff.
there's the time where Burlington train station here in Omaha. Um, It was like pretty much the first train station in Omaha. I'm pretty sure. I didn't really do my research like I should have. Maybe I should have, but I know it was built like late 1800s, early 1900s. And if you know anything about at that time, it was pretty freaking wild out in the West. Um, this was like the main railroad through the Western going west. And at the time, it was condemned. Literally, there was like stairs that were halfway broken down and destroyed. And we did, funny enough, Deb, a haunted house called Alien Harvest. It
Ooh.
was an alien themed haunted house.
Ooh.
And me and a friend of mine worked in what we would call the abduction room. They had like lights on the ceiling,
Oh my God. That's
and they had
wild.
fog that was up to your chest, and we wore like these big black robes and like these alien gray masks, and we'd like hide in the fog. And when the tour guide was bringing the people through, we'd jump up when we had our cue and grab the tour guide and abduct her. And then another tour guide would come in and be like, "Get out of here, go, go, go." And we'd stand up and
Yikes.
start like walking toward the crowd, and they'd freak out and go to the next area. Well, after like 3 or 4 groups, you know, we would take a break, and they'd bring us in like juice or pop, candy bar, pizza, whatever. And me and my buddy were standing there, and the fog is as high as our chests. We're just standing there, kind of eating our little snack and talking. And the next thing I know, we kind of both look over. Now, this is an old abandoned late 1800s, early 1900s train station, and in the fog appeared a face,
Yeah.
right? Like just it's staring at us. And I looked at my buddy. He looked at me. I'm like, "Did you see that?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, so I'm done here. We're moving on. I'm gonna go be something else. I'm not working in here anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go chase people with chainsaws at the end or something. I'm good." But I mean, just experiences like that. I've been able to walk into places and I'll feel the energy, and I'll be like, something really bad happened here, you know?
Hmm.
Uh, or nothing at all. But it's usually the negative side that I feel. I'm like, okay, so there's something that happened that was really bad here. So
that's funny. In my younger days, when I still lived in Michigan, the ex and I were thinking about buying a house up there. It was an old farmhouse, and we walked into the house and walked through the kitchen, and there was steps, a door to the basement, and
yeah,
it was one of the coal basements where it was more of a ladder than it was a step.
yeah, just like almost
And
straight down.
yeah, yeah. And the lady opened up the door, and I looked down there, and I'm like, "Nope, we're good. Let's go look at something else." And they were like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because an old man fell down these steps and broke his neck, and I'm not living in his house."
Yeah,
And the lady, the realtor disclosed to us that, yeah, the old guy that owned the house had fallen down there and broke his neck.
mm-mm. Yeah. They bought my parents bought this house, which is a couple houses down from where my friend that I worked at the haunted house with, and this house was built by an old German couple in like 1942, and in fact, there was like a dirt room in the basement. So it was like this old wooden shabby door. You opened it up, and there was like a room filled with dirt. And
Ew.
the story was that the old man used to sit down there and shoot his guns in the dirt. But
Damn.
yeah, but he
Huh.
he passed away, and she still lived there, and she would she was so like kind of, I don't know what you would call like dementia driven, that like they
Yeah.
had a regular stove, but she would go out and get wood and like try to start a fire in the modern stove. But
Oh Lord, bless her
I
heart.
my room was in the basement, and Ralph was the man's name. The old lady, we didn't know what her name was. Ralph. So my parents did renovations in the house. They built like so that we had like a really long, very large front room. Well, they turned that. They built a wall. Well, while they were building that, it must have stirred something up because usually renovation stirs up spirits. We know this, but he used to turn the TVs on and off and like shut doors and stuff in that house, as to where now I lived in the basement and she would appear on the landing. And I literally, you ever just get that feeling like you're just being watched?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like you're standing there and you're like, oh shit, like something's
Hmm.
watching me. And so
Yep,
like I was
for
sitting down
sure.
there watching my TV, whatever, playing Nintendo, whatever I was doing. And I just had that feeling. I was like, and I turned slowly and looked up the steps thinking I was going to catch like my mom standing there, and full body apparition of the old woman right in my face, not out of my peripheral. Just saw it clear as day. Like, hey, I'm here. And I'm like blinking, and she just kind of went away, just was gone. We had a Cocker Spaniel. He used to stare at the walls, stare at the corners all the time. His name was Prince, and he'd just be staring at stuff like out of nowhere. Uh, and it was just that was really really strange. Well, after we moved out of
Mhm.
that house, story my mom doesn't know, she probably is watching, so she's about to find out. But so after we moved out of this house, me and my buddy Josh decided we're going to go back and break in the house for like one last hurrah in the house, like before, so I mean we had a way of sneaking in and out at night anyway, and it was the same way we got in. And when we went in there, the energy of the house had changed so drastically. It was like, okay, you used to live here, but you don't anymore. You need to get out of here. Like you're not supposed to be here. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what it felt like. Like we went through the basement, upstairs, through the kitchen, and I was going to go up to the third floor, which was my original bedroom. And I didn't even make it that far. Like we got to the bathroom, and I was like, yeah, dude, like this is where we need to go. Like, because I felt like we were going to be attacked. Like, I felt like we were going to, I was going to get killed almost. You know what I mean? Like, just an overwhelming feeling of dread. And, like,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to be here. Get out. And so we did. We left. But it was so strange. And it was like, I used to live here and it was good feelings all the time. It was a nice house. Everything was great. And then when we went back in after we moved out, it was like, get the F out of here. So We did.
Yeah.
Now,
Wow.
did you ever take recorders or anything with you
No, I never, because I
and
wasn't
try
that.
to?
See, that was it though. Like I never see that was at the time where I was like kind of in denial of that
Mhm.
side of the world or that side of everything. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
was just
yeah,
like, I was in denial. I was,
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I was probably 18. No, I was like 22, and so at that point, I mean, I was like, oh, that's fake. Oh, that noise
yeah.
had to be explained away. You know,
We had conversations like that.
I'm invincible. This isn't gonna really attack me. But
Yeah,
then when you're there and it's like in
yeah.
your face and you're feeling that energy, you're like, yeah, I'm about to get hit in the back of the head with something. I'm about to go. Like,
Right. Now, I know we had talked too. You've gone out on a couple investigations
I did.
with people.
I did. There was an old group here that were fairly lazy and
Uh-huh.
uncommitted. But one of the places that I went to, and this is like before my kids was born, was there's a place here called Hummel Park, and literally, like everybody knows that if you want to find a body, you go to this park. Chances are
Hey.
you'll probably find one. Like
Oh boy.
there's two particular
Yeah.
cases I can
Where
tell
at
you.
is this?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's the Wild West out here. Not really anymore, but I mean it happens
Well, it
15,
was for sure.
yeah, 15 years apart or so. Well, yeah, Burlington Station, the place I was telling you about. It's funny
Hmm.
enough, our local news station now broadcasts from that building. They bought the building and spruced it up.
Oh.
So it just makes me wonder,
Oh,
hey, News Watch 7, do you guys see ghosts or what? Like,
Do they ever
yeah. Right.
record EVPs during
right,
their
like let
shows like
right, like
we have?
let me know. Come on, man.
Yeah,
But
right.
Right.
they so like if the last known case, fairly known case that I can remember was there's this little girl named Amber Harris. She got off the school bus. I think she was like 12 or 13, and she was abducted. Bad things happened to her, and she was left out there in a shallow grave. And so, about a year or two after that, I went with this very uncommitted, very, for lack of a better term, excuse me, grabastic group. I don't think they
Yeah.
really knew what they were doing, but I just went along for like the thrills, you know. And we went out there, and we went literally to like where her body was found.
Wow.
Pardon me, I'm sorry. But yeah, we caught EVPs there.
Mhm.
And the one that I remember the most, I don't have any of the files. I wish I did. It was probably on like 4 computers ago.
Yeah.
But the she was like, I was buried here, was what the file said. Was like what the EVP said.
Mm.
Was She was like, I was buried here. But it was like real noisy because it's the woods. You're kind of walking around and it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean? So, but I mean that there's the Kenyatta Bush one that we caught, which that was like in 1989. It was another girl that was taken out there and dumped off in a shelter. Actually, it was like one of the shelters where like you get picnic tables and families come, and they
Uh-huh.
found her there. And there was one there where she was like, it was just no. Pretty sure it was Kenyatta Bush though. You know what I mean? But it was like like again, here we are in the middle of the woods on like one of these shelters, and you're hearing nothing but like the wind on top of this hill, and then it's like you know so it was
Yeah.
really low. You really had to amplify it to actually hear it. But yeah, I mean, I've been to, and that was the only place we really went was Hummel Park. But funny thing about Hummel is they got this thing, it's called like the double staircase or double slide, I think is what it's actually called. And if you walk down the stairs and count them and then walk back up and count them, you'll get a different number of stairs.
Mhm.
So it's like 217 down, 218 up.
That's
Hmm.
weird.
Yeah, isn't that strange?
Yeah, that is
That
weird.
is weird.
Yeah. So that's, but beyond that, like they were really, and I was really non-committal at the time too, because I was like 20 something years old, so I was all over the place, wild child.
Mhm. Right.
So I mean, and then they'd invite me. They'd be like, "Hey, we're gonna have an investigation here. Do you want to come?" Sure. And then like the day before, they'd be like, "Yeah, we canceled." And I'm like,
Yeah, I've kind of been around a couple groups like that here. And that's why I ended up being just not in a group.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and then I just kind of packed it away, I
Mhm.
didn't really, I stopped. I was like, whatever. I
Mhm.
don't really want to investigate. It's fine. So,
Right.
but then
No, are you just saying that, or would you really like to investigate,
I
but there's
do it.
just no one credible enough?
I do it. It isn't even about credibility. I do it if like if I was sure that they were committed.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like
Oh yeah.
if I was sure that they would like not going to cancel 11 hours before we're going to be there, or
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Because I know there's the what is it? It's in Iowa. I think it's no, it's not the Sally House. It's Lizzie
The
Borden's house,
Valeska
maybe.
axe murder. No,
Valeska,
that's in
Valeska, Valeska. That's
yeah.
it. You said it. There's Valeska,
Yep.
and I would love to go there. My mom and my stepdad and my uncle Mike and his wife have been there. And my mom's
Mhm.
like, yeah, you can go walk in there, and it's just like you're like, mm, it feels bad,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
y- you know?
And the group I'm with now, Bips, we're
Yeah,
planning a trip there this summer.
this summer, no shit.
Yep.
You need to tell me when, and I
Okay.
will drive there. I
Right
will
on.
drive there, my guy. It'll be the first time
Oh
meeting
yeah.
face to face too. So
It will be. Yeah, we've never really met face to face. It's always either been Discord or TeamSpeak or
Jedi Academy.
in a in a game where
Jedi Academy.
it was. That's actually how we met.
That's exactly where we met. Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Well,
Mom, shout out to you,
nothing
Mom. It was your computer that I met this dude on.
nothing happens by chance. I don't believe in coincidences. So, it's probably meant for you in your journey to come meet Greg.
Well, the crazy thing about it too is we had lost contact for what, man?
Long
Like 8
time.
years? Yeah, like it
Yeah.
was a long time. I we I stopped being on TeamSpeak, and he stopped. We just and I found him on Facebook one day,
Mhm.
and I was just like, dude, it's me, it's Jin. What's up? Because that was my name in the game. So I used my game name. I was like, it's me, Jin, bro. It's your twin brother in our lore.
Uh,
How nerdy is that? I mean, I love it.
it's hardcore nerd.
But
I'm
you know
sorry,
what?
man. I don't mean to put you on Front Street, Greg.
That's I already know. Trust me. But we didn't Greg and I mean, we did the Midwest Paratalk radio for several years, and then I got bumped to second shift and he moved, and for a long time he lived in another state. Then he came back, and then I'm doing, work, and he's doing his thing. And I mean, it was, I don't know, we could go a whole year without even talking to each other at all. And all of a sudden it'll be an instant message. Hey, how you doing? Or something like that. And
Mhm.
then I ended up, you know, basically having to went out medically, and Greg started working from home and come back to Indiana. And it's like, he hits me up one day, you want to resurrect Midwest Paratalk? And I'm like, yeah,
I used
I've
to
been having
listen to
the itch.
y'all.
And huh?
I used to listen to y'all back in the day. In fact, I think when
Mhm.
you two used to investigate together,
Yeah,
he sent me a picture of I think an apparition that you guys had caught,
yeah,
and
probably.
I like boosted it for him and sent it back because I had a more powerful,
Nice.
I had a better computer than him at that time, I think. But
Well,
Where
hopefully
was
we'll do
that?
more investigations together. We did recently. They allowed me to. Bips came up here and did the Davies house up here where I live. Actually, I've been
yeah,
here 30 years and didn't even know it was here. So Greg came up, and he then the Bips allowed me to come on their investigation with them, which was so much fun. And I
mm,
got the bug again.
Mhm.
I want you to do this. I mean, it's just a part of me.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
I'm just so tickled that this part has been reawakened, and they're
yes.
letting me kind of hang out with them, and I'm tickled to be out here doing this with Greg again, and hopefully
Greg's a
it'll
cool dude.
He is, man.
Ah, thank
That's
you. Thank
that's
you.
the
I
coolest
appreciate
dude.
He's my
Yeah.
partner in crime. I
Oh,
swear
man.
to
Right?
God, we had to be like siblings in another life because
Something, yeah.
we're so much alike in so many ways like that.
Yeah.
I
We
love
just,
I love your
It's
hat, by the
okay.
way, my guy.
You like that? I'd show you the back of the hat, but I don't know that YouTube would actually like that.
probably
You
not.
But
might not
it's
get monetized, dude.
Very, it's
it's
very sweet though.
yeah, it's F your feelings.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
so
that's and that was the thing with I almost called him Jin. Fuck, I'm a nerd.
Dude, it's all
With
right, Kavar.
John.
It's all right, Kavar.
Yeah, well,
I
that's my
gave birth
license
to the
plate, so
biggest
you
nerd
can't
on
get
the
on me on
planet.
that.
So don't worry about
Uh,
nerd. I love nerds.
but really, that's how it was with us 20 years ago. Is like we started playing the game, and it just kind of
All them hours
clicked
of
off,
training.
and yeah, just hanging out together. And like you said, I mean, everything is meant to be.
Yeah.
One way or another, everything falls into place, and you meet who you're supposed to meet. And I don't believe, like my theory is on it in past lives, the people that you know now were people that you knew then, one way
Yeah.
or another. So like
Yeah.
I could be your dad, and Deb could be my uncle Tom.
Why
You
you
know
got
what
to
I'm
be my
saying?
dad, man? Maybe what if I'm your dad?
You know, I'm older than you are, so I get privy.
I've
Hey,
read, I've been around a long time because I'm old as hell, and I've read theories about past lives, and people, lots of people have said I've read that they come back in pods. They call them little
mhm.
pods. The same little group of spirits or energy or whatever tends to choose to come back and do an experience with other
Yeah.
energies that they know and love or are familiar with. So
I fully
Right.
believe in that.
I fully feel like that feels right to me. I go with what feels right to me with things, and that feels right to me. So we
I
got a question here for me.
Yep.
Okay. Can you talk
Deb,
about
can you talk about the times when your kids saw beings in your house? Such a spooky part of the book Intruders.
oh I don't know. Johnny, are you aware of the book Intruders and that
I know that
whole
I know that I think it's at your book, right?
Well, Intruders was written about me and my family, and there was a mini series about it on CBS back in the 90s,
Okay.
from some experiences that I had. I've had paranormal experiences as you have, but I've also
Yeah.
had experience with some other life form, whether it be extraterrestrial, extra dimensional, whatever. And
Right.
the two genres, I don't know, kind
You
of
got
Yeah.
dovetailed in my life,
you got hit with the double whammy.
I got the double whammy in that show. Whammy. But yeah,
You
when
aged yourself there because I remember exactly what the hell you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
oh boy. So anyway, when I was a single mom living with my mom and dad in their house, and that's where the experience of June 30, 83 happened, that was the central thing in Intruders. Anyway, we saw all kinds of weird stuff. I saw a little blue guy in the house. My kids talked about seeing, they were really little.
Yeah.
And Robbie, I remember Robbie told Bud of the little guy with the big head in the closet that was coming to get his brother. He talked about and they were too little to have known. And this was back in the late 80s. You didn't see this on TV or anything like that either.
Right.
We didn't even have internet. We didn't have computers. So
Unsolved
Right.
Mysteries was about as scary as it got back then, I
yeah.
think.
And
That
you know,
opening always freaked me out.
Robbie talked about seeing he called it the red spider on the wall. It's a red light on the wall.
Ooh.
I remember when the power was out. There was an ice storm, And me and the kids were there, of course, but also my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and some of their kids were there as well, because nobody in Indy had power for days and days and days. And mom and daddy had a generator, and they had a fireplace so we could stay warm.
Yeah.
And my brother-in-law saw a I don't know, for lack of a better way to put it, a little shadow being, little shadow person, like child size, that he saw would peer around the corner. And he was laying on the couch. He'd peer around the corner from the kitchen and look at him, and it freaked him the F out. He
Mhm.
was flipped out over that. There were all kinds of creepy things happening in mom and dad's house when we lived there, besides just the thing that left the mark in the yard of that bizarre night.
Mhm.
Like I said, I saw something with blue sparkles around it as it passed through an invisible doorway and out of my view. It was shaped like a gray alien would be shaped, but it was just all blue and it had sparkles around it.
Right.
So that was bizarre. Anyway, my kids have seen a lot of weird things. I can relate to you
Yeah.
and all the things that you've lived. And I can also understand when you talk about you see things and you think, oh,
Yeah. It's just one of those things.
and you can't really rationalize it. I mean, you can't find anywhere to fit it in your world, in your
Right.
paradigm, so you just kind of put it up on a shelf and forget about it, because what are you going to do? And who are you going to tell? And
Yeah.
you tell people and they'll look at you like you've lost your mind.
Yeah. You belong in
And
St. Joseph's, bro.
right, you don't want to deal with none of that nonsense, so you just put it away. I guarantee you, for every person out there like you and me who speak publicly in any venue about a weird experience that they've had, for everyone like us, there's probably 25,000 people that probably got more wild stories than either you or I have.
I think
And
that I think that everybody has experienced something.
everybody's had something.
Yeah.
If you
Every
haven't had something, you ain't paying attention.
Right, right.
Right.
Everybody has had something happen, but I think that there's so many. I mean, because with just how the temperature of the world is today, it's easily just pushed aside. It's like I'm in the middle of I'm paying bills, I'm doing this, I got kids to keep up with, I got to take little Johnny to soccer practice, and you see a shadow person dart across your peripheral, and you're like, whatever.
I ain't got time for that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I got to take Johnny to soccer. We're 5 minutes late
Mhm.
already. Sorry, Shadow Man. You can dart as much as you want. I got to go.
And
Right.
things
You can
happen
suck it. I
around
gotta
us.
go.
Yeah,
Right.
and life is distracting.
Yeah.
There are probably things that go on around all of us that we don't mostly notice because
Yeah.
we're too distracted by life.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But that
or you're
don't mean it
closed,
ain't there.
or they're closed minded. And again,
Hmm.
it's just one of them things
Hmm.
that's
I always
unexplained.
say, if you ain't got a story, you ain't paying attention.
Facts. Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah.
On to the alien thing or
I was going to ask you
extraterrestrial.
about. I was going to ask you. You seem like the type of person. Feel like familiar, like me, a type of
Yeah.
person that would be attractive to that sort of
I
thing.
I believe it. I
Mhm.
certainly believe it. I'll 100% say I believe it. Now, as far as experiences go, the only one that I can actually really remember, and it's only because it's unexplainable. Again, maybe it's my own. It's just one of those things. But
Yeah.
I was fishing late one night with my uncle Mickey, and we were at a place called Gavin's Point Dam. And there's like no light out there, so there's no light pollution. So like you can see the sky really nice, really bright, and all the stars and everything. And I was sitting and I was just kind of looking up at the sky, and it was really late, and I saw what I appeared to me like, so there's a star and then another star coming at it. And I'm like, wow, am I witnessing a falling star? A shooting star. That's awesome.
Mhm.
And it hit this star, and two littler stars came and broke off of the big star that the one just hit and
Ooh.
zigzagged across the
Oh.
sky. And I'm like, Okay, what the freak was that?
Right?
Stars don't do that.
No.
Planes only. I mean, I could see maybe if it was a plane or an aircraft, but that means something just hit. It's something like there's something happened up there. Disaster. A plane struck another plane,
Hmm.
and pieces of burning whatever or zigzagging across the sky. Or, in what I think it was something docked with a spaceship and released two more.
Yeah.
It could be. I
You know,
mean,
or
yeah.
this
Yeah.
is before Starlink. This is before a lot of the satellites that now are in the sky weren't in the sky. This is mid 80s, maybe late 80s. I couldn't tell you, but the exact date. But yeah, I saw that, but as far as aliens go, that's about the only thing I think I've ever witnessed or experienced. I can tell you that, like, what freaks me out is like images or faces in windows. I don't know where that fear, it's an irrational fear that I have.
Um, that comes from something,
Yeah,
something in your
but
subconscious. So,
yeah, so I don't know where that irrational, fear comes from, but like I used to have a friend of mine, Richard, we used to call him Spider-Man because dude could climb anything. He could climb up the side of a flat wall. He used to do it regularly at my house, and the way he'd get me up, we'd walk to school together. We walked to high school together, and the way he'd get me up is he would climb up onto the roof of my house because I lived in the third story at the time, and peer at me through my window.
oh, now that would get on my
That's
nerves.
that's being a stalker. That's not being a friend.
I would
And
not like that.
and I would, and I don't, my fear didn't come from that, but that certainly didn't help by any means.
Mhm.
But he would peer at me through my window, and I'd be like, "Oh," and it would startle me, and I'd probably
Well,
say a
yeah,
few choice words and call him a few choice things, and then
that would startle anybody.
right, and then
Right.
go outside and we'd walk to school. But
Mhm.
you know, I, I've always kind of had that, like, my my current fiance, I call her my wife because it's that point, but my current fiance, uh I can't sleep with the blinds open. I can't sleep with, like, the blinds must be closed. I can't be like there's I windows freak me out. And maybe that has
Mhm.
something to do with mirrors, because I know mirrors are said to be portals in a way.
Mhm.
So who knows,
I
you
don't
know?
like mirrors, but for a whole different reason. I don't like what's looking back at me.
February 2019, I went to the Stanley Hotel with my
Oh,
buddy Jeremy,
wow. That
and
would be amazing.
they
Right.
wouldn't let you go up the grand staircase because
Why not?
unless you were a hotel patron, like you were renting a room there.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
We
yeah.
went
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
went just to visit. Uh,
Okay.
and I really, really, really wanted to go up on the grand staircase because from videos that I've watched, just stuff that I've
Mhm.
watched, Sam and Colby, whatever. Um, they have two large mirrors on either side of the staircase that face each other, which, I watched the one video, your one radio program that you had, the girl whose house that you did the investigation at.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
she
Mhm.
and she mentioned that, mirrors facing each other cause vortex portals.
Mhm.
Well, the moment we walked in there, I had just begun kind of just really embracing my gifts, my embracing the fact that I can read the energy in a place, embracing my, I guess I would call it, spiritual side, you know. And when we walked in the place, I was hit with tremendous energy. Just it went right through me. I was speechless. I literally, the buddy I was with, I almost had to grab him and have him kind of lead me around as if I were a blind person or something, because it hit
Right.
me to such an extent. Like, I feel like I had a spiritual awakening there, which is,
Mhm.
but like I really, really, for some reason, wanted to get up on that staircase, really wanted to go look at these mirrors, really wanted to go to room 218.
Yeah.
That's before I even knew that room 218 was the haunted room in the hotel.
That
But
was the room
218,
that Stephen King stayed in when he actually wrote The Shining.
right? I wanted to go. I had no knowledge of that. I just knew that the Stanley Hotel was where they filmed Here's Johnny You know, that's what I knew.
Yeah.
I knew that's where they filmed it. I didn't know that
Right.
he wrote the book there. I didn't know that was the
Mhm.
most haunted room in the on the property. I had no knowledge of that. I just knew that that's where I wanted to go, and it was really sad
Yeah.
because I was really sad that I couldn't, like go up the stairs and everything. But after
Mhm.
that, we went to Estes Park, which is like right below Stanley Hill, the Stanley Hotel.
Mhm.
And we're walking by all these stores. They got like crystals for sale and geodes for
Yeah.
sale. And my brother, my friend Jeremy, he's like, "You want to go in here?" I'm like, "No, I'm not feeling it."
Mhm.
And I don't know if he understood what I meant by "I'm not feeling it." Like I wasn't
Right.
feeling anything.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this isn't
And
slang, bro. I'm just not feeling it.
right then we got to a
Yeah.
Native American store,
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you're feeling it, right?
and I was drawn. I was
Yeah.
hooked. I was
Yeah.
drawn. It was like
Yeah.
I had to go in here. I have to
Mhm.
go in this store. And we went in.
That gets me every time.
Yep.
We went in, and I went into the store, and they're all like my buddy and his buddy who was actually like showing us around Estes Park and everything, who lives there. They're like looking at their stuff, and I was like a bloodhound with a scent. I
Mhm.
was l- I was drawn to the back of the store, and I have it. I wish I had a cam so I could show you, but I have this little obsidian raven
Nice.
that has three eyes.
Oh,
Okay.
And out of all of the little obsidian ravens they had about 5 or 6 different ones there. This was the only one that had three eyes.
that must be your spirit animal.
It literally is.
Mhm.
You know what I
It
mean?
literally is. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so drawn to shinies. You have no idea. I'm
Mhm.
so drawn to shinies. But
I'm a magpie.
I grabbed this thing, and it didn't even matter the price that was on the bottom of this thing. I bought it. Like I think I
Yeah.
paid $50 for this little 3-inch
Wow.
Oh
obsidian
yeah.
raven. And as I was walking out, my buddy and his buddy went in front of me, and they were actually quite a ways out. They like had already left the store. The lady was like, "Enjoy your awakening," and I'm like, and I was like,
Thanks.
"What the freak?"
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's literally, and she was just like this little old native woman. She was so cool, and she's like, "Enjoy your awakening, sweetie," and I'm like, "Thank you, bye."
There's a
you know,
medicine woman.
right? So we get into
Yeah.
this dude's Challenger, and we were driving to the grocery store. We were going to pick up like some steaks because we were going to have steaks. I remember. And so I was going to have a cigarette. I'm a smoker, unfortunately. Uh, but I was going to have a cigarette. And so they were like, "You want to come in?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm going to sit outside the car and have a cigarette and wait for y'all to come back." They're like, "Cool." I'm like, "Later." I'm standing there. And so, like, when you're literally like being targeted by something in the way of like, so like if I'm talking to you, Deb, and I'm like standing over here to the left of behind you, and I'm like, "Hey, Deb, that's going toward you. I'm talking to you."
Right.
Greg
Mhm.
may hear me, but it's not gonna sound the same to him as it does to you because I'm talking to you.
Mhm.
I'm standing there under a tree, and a raven is in the tree, and it caws at me,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
at me. It's like, "Ah!" And I'm like, "The fuck?" And I look up, and it takes off and flies right over my head. And it was like, I was like, "Hello, Moonin. How are you today? Did the All Father send you? Like, hi."
Mhm.
Like it was so cool. It was the coolest experience. It meant so much to me.
Mhm.
Then I think the
That's
buddy that I went
awesome.
then I think the buddy that I went with even understood. Like I think later that night when we got back to our hotel, he like went right to sleep because we also went to Colorado for other reasons.
Mhm.
But
Right.
he went there for that reason. I went there because I had never been to Denver. But
Mhm.
Right. Right.
he went to sleep, and I literally like went in the bathroom and I cried. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
because it was like somebody had taken, and if you believe it, like had taken my third eye and just wedged it wide open, and I was receiving
Mhm.
everything at
Mhm.
once. And that was like the beginning of me really embracing this gift, this thing.
Mhm.
And now I'm like a full practicing. I sage my house twice a month. Because I see not spirits, but see shadow people here.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So, I mean, in my house, like I see them darting from my little son Jacob's room into the bathroom. I say that quietly in case he's listening.
Mhm.
But
Right. Yeah.
but I feel things here. Anywhere I go, I feel things. It's weird. It's strange, but at the same time, ultimately, it's so very cool.
Now, I've had somebody asked me this not too long ago. I can't remember about shadow people and what I thought about them. I don't. I've seen lots of different people speaking about them, and they always have something negative to say about them. But I don't know that they're all negative. Do you? What do you think about them? I
I
don't. I have
th-
seen them. I don't think they're all negative.
I think there's a capacity for negativity depending on how said spirit left.
Yeah.
If you're murdered, there's that negativity. If
Yeah.
obviously, if so, I don't think they're all negative, but I do think there are like the basic haunting. Like if there were
Hmm.
levels, there's like the shadow people who like just kind of you see out of the corner of your eye, like kind of like what you said, your brother-in-law saw him like peek his head around.
Hmm.
I think that's like your basic kind of spirit, and then it obviously it can progress up to like moving things, shutting doors, turning TVs on, haunting the crap out of you, uh being generally a misfit, like being
Hmm.
mischievous, or
Like being pissed off at everything and everybody and taking
there's
it out on
or
everything.
or being very childlike,
Hmm.
moving
And
things.
that's one I'm encountered more of a curiosity than
Yeah,
an anger or anything. So
I
I
think
get
the
maybe the
really angry ones, which I've encountered them, I
yeah.
have. I'm not going to say I haven't, but the really angry ones are the ones that, when I feel that, I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with you, brother. I'm gonna go ahead and
That's like me. Not today, Satan. I ain't got time
right.
for it. Go
Yeah,
away.
no, yeah.
Well,
I don't really want to deal with that. I mean, could I?
Yeah.
I don't feel, and again, I'm not out here trying to like help them get away
Hmm.
or help them,
right. Yeah.
go to heaven, whatever you want to say. I'm not out here trying to do that. I just feel it, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so it's not like my business. I'm not in the business of helping you get to the next place.
Yeah. I'm
Mhm.
not trying to help spirits. I'm trying to help the people here that are all
Right.
jacked
Like
up from their experiences.
I got stuff to do here that
Yeah.
is very, if I encounter a spirit, I'm like, yay, look, you're here and I know you're
Hey,
here,
thank
but that's as
you.
far as it's going to go. I'm not going
Yeah.
to go out here and research when you died and how you died and who you were and if you've got family and try to talk to your family and then try to help you move on to the next place, man. That's somebody else's job.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm totally with you there. I mean,
I just know you're here. I can
right.
feel you. And beyond that, that's
Mhm.
it, man. And I don't want
Hmm.
you hanging on to
Well,
me, you know?
99% of the time, that's really all they want.
Just
You know,
acknowledgement.
Yeah.
just acknowledge that I'm here, and it's just like you would be if we were talking and we were ignoring Deb, and Deb's
Yeah.
like,
Yo,
hello,
I'm here.
Hello,
Hello.
am I
I'm
invisible?
right, I'm right here, fuckers, come
Yeah,
on,
actually, you are. You're dead.
you,
Wait, who's
but
Deb?
yeah, right, but and that usually, like in my house, that personally stops activity because they mess with the dogs all the time. I can
Yeah,
say, "Look, hey, leave my dogs alone, man. I know you're here. It's cool. Just
right.
leave them alone." And everything is chill,
Yeah, back off a little bit.
you know? Yeah. And, with shadow people, this past weekend, I saw more shadow people than I have in my entire paranormal career.
Yeah,
At
And
that place you went with Bips,
yeah, the bar.
yeah.
that was cool.
Yeah. And it wasn't an ominous feeling. It was just curiosity. Like, the hell are you here for?
And I don't
I
even
mean,
know if they're looking for the acknowledgement that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel
no.
like I think they just don't even know they're there. I think they're just kind of passing
No,
through.
I wonder
I
if
think they
maybe we
know.
look like shadow people to
Yeah,
them, where
Right,
whatever dimension they're in, they're like, "What the hell is that?
right.
right.
What
Why is he holding
we
that
might
thing?
be the ghost."
Yeah,
I mean, I saw a shadow person just like this laying on the bar,
just chilling, kick back.
just chilling.
waiting to be served.
It would swoosh. Yeah, it'd swoosh back and forth, and then come up and throw its head on its hands and watch us, and then swoosh back and forth.
Like, bro,
I
I
just
ordered
think
a
it's
whiskey
a
200
curiosity.
years ago. Where's my stuff at?
Right. Well, there is quite a lot of. I heard. I don't want to pull off topic, but one of the EVPs that I have to tell you, it was an old man, an old crotchety geezer, and his voice says, "Help me," and that was the EVP. I swear to God, I swear to Jesus, that's what that EVP said, and I had to listen to it multiple times, and I'll send it to you, Deb, and see if you can hear it too. Maybe you can extract it a little bit more.
Super sarcastic, huh? Like
yeah, he's
who
like,
asked you for help?
But see, the whole attitude of the bar before we even got started, they still had patrons in there, so and they're hillbillies. So I mean, I'm not afraid to tell you, some of them were kind of dicks.
We don't take kindly to your folk around here, son.
Dude, they probably laughing at y'all like, look at them.
Hey, I know people. They were. The motherfuckers had the nerve to play Ray Stevens' Ghostbusters on the fucking jukebox.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and then this, I mean, I'm a big boy, don't get me wrong, and I know I'm fat, but this fat motherfucker walked by the cameras,
somebody's
flipping off the camera.
Wow.
I saw that.
How fucking old are you, dude? You fucking bitch. And then another guy was walking up the stairs to go out the door, and he did the XXX thing over his crotch.
Oh,
and I'm
really?
Like, how?
Gave you the old DX crotch chop, huh?
Right, yeah. So I'm like, well, you're going home to your sister wife, or I don't know. Bunch of lunatics. Yeah. I'm like, come on.
Sister,
but I mean,
y'all making me cry now. Shit.
I had gone through my first file off of my recorder, and I had 15 EVPs. Do you know how rare, honestly, how rare that is to have it off one recording? I have 16 recordings on my Zoom.
And that's Isn't that the greatest thing ever?
It is phenomenal.
I swear to God, I've had one for years, and I absolutely love it. You need to get one, Johnny.
What is it?
Yeah, it's a Z1N Zoom. It's a digital voice recorder.
Mine's
there it
the
is.
Old version.
Okay.
It's stereo. It records in stereo.
Okay. You can hear a fly fart, dude.
In the other room.
And in the other room. But I really think, and I'm segueing on EVPs. So kind of bear with me. I took the long way around the block, but I think that you need to get some kind of digital voice recorder, and I do recommend the Zoom. And I'll link it to you if you want. Just hit me. I'll hit me up tomorrow, and I'll link it to you.
Yeah.
But you just turn that fucker on, man, and set a timer, because I'm not gonna lie, listen to audio for longer than 20 minutes at a time is really monotonous, and your eyes start to close. Yeah. You lose focus. So 20-minute intervals.
Yeah.
And just run EVP sessions when you start feeling things like that, and see what you can find and share them.
And it doesn't matter daytime, nighttime. Hell, sometimes I'm sitting in my office piddling around here at 2 p.m, and I suddenly get the urge to turn it on. And that's why it's sitting on my desk there. And sometimes you're getting that urge because something is trying to get something wants you to.
So do you ever?
Something.
So do you ever just catch shit? Just like you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna turn it on. I got the urge, and then suddenly you're like, oh shit, I think I got something.
And I've done that too with pictures as well. I've got an urge to take a picture and just snap one. Yours is so much nicer. Mine's old. You got the new version.
Does yours have the little dial right there? Hold on, let me get it focused. Focus, you son of a bitch.
Well, I mean, what do you got on your camera lens, man?
I don't know what it's dirty.
It's like you sprayed vegetable oil on it or something.
It's not vegetable oil. I was watching.
There's what mine looks like. Does that tell you anything?
See, I don't know what that. I'm gonna have to play with that little knob. Shut up, John.
That's what she said.
and figure it out. But I mean, dude,
oh snap! Now that was a good
the
one.
He knew it
recorder.
was coming.
Honestly,
He knew it was coming.
I knew it. Yeah, but that recorder, man, it's probably one of the best I've ever heard, and Deb turned me on to it.
Okay.
Love it.
Like
And
a
then
lot
it
of
has a
things.
little micro SD card, whatever size you want to store all
Okay.
your audio on. Then
You can only go up to 32 gig on the micro SD cards on the Zoom.
Is that what mine is? I don't know what mine is.
Yeah, if you
Anyways,
go any higher
but
than
that's
that, it doesn't
plenty.
recognize it.
Good.
Yeah.
If you got 32 gigabytes of audio to listen to, you're going to be busy for a long time.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just pop it out, plug it into the computer, and drag your stuff off of there. Or, I mean, yours is your plug. My plug-in is what, like the original USB, the big fat one.
Yeah.
Which I can't even find the cable right now, but I just use the SD card. But what is yours? Does yours plug in with that same kind like mine, or is it the regular?
No, it's the micro SD
Okay.
plug that everything uses right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I have a card reader.
I got a card reader too.
I bought. It's just easier. I just pop it out, put it in that. It pulls up. I draw the audio off of it. I'm good to go. But John, definitely look at something like that.
Okay.
I mean, hell, you can even use the recorder on your phone. You know what I mean? And pull something. But you could walk through the freaking Walmart or the Jiffy Lube or
even
when you're doing at the gas station.
Even speaking about my phone, when I lived in Texas, just another quick one. My wife at the time was in the shower, and I was gonna be funny and snap a picture of her when she got out of the shower.
No, you wasn't. You was getting a nudie for the spank bank.
Yes, for sure. But I pulled the phone out.
Where am I?
And I took a picture of like the bathroom door, right? Well, the house that we lived in was very old. It was an older house in Texas. And my mom and my dad were there. I think they were there they'd come from Nebraska, down to Texas. I think it's Thanksgiving or something, Christmas, something. And I remember freaking the hell out because I snapped this picture, and standing next, so we had like a dresser with a TV on it next to the bathroom door on the wall. Standing next between the bathroom door and that picture was a very clearly a Victorian woman, not Victorian, but older, 200, and was wearing clothing from like 200 years ago, 300 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was clear as day. I think I even sent you that picture, Greg. I mean, it was a while ago.
In my head.
Yeah. But I ran. I was like, oh my God, what the hell? I didn't even see it with my naked eye. My phone caught it. I'm like, what the hell? And I ran out of the room and went in and showed my mom. And my mom's like, yep. I hear her walking. I hear her walking at night in this house. I was telling you about this just the other day, Greg, by hearing the footsteps. Where we would go to bed at night, and every night I would hear footsteps of what we presumed was somebody from her family, my girlfriend at the time's family. We could smell her perfume. She wore, I could smell her perfume. I hear her walking. And then there's also my dad too. I hear him walking. Not so much anymore, but like smell Marlboro cigarettes. I mean, I smoke, but when you're not smoking, you can smell when somebody lights one up and you're like, okay, I know I want one. Thanks. But and he drank a very specific, cheap type of whiskey, Kessler whiskey. And I can smell that sometimes. And he was like a pretend biker, thought he was a biker, but he was really a big giant wuss. But I could hear like his biker boots like walking on the floors. So I mean, I was always it's always happened around me. Yeah. It's always there. It's just always and again, sometimes 80% of the time I chalk it up to it's just one of them things.
Yeah.
I should write a book called things.
Just one of them things. Yeah. You know what? The title of I had a book come out August 2021 called Extraordinary Contact. I seriously wanted to name it Well Shit.
Yeah.
I seriously did. But you know what? Somebody else already has a book out like that.
Called Well Shit.
Yes. Well Shit.
What are you going to do?
That's just that's been my whole life. Well Shit.
So, but yeah, it's most of my stuff. You know.
Yeah.
Most recently, right as Halloween was coming, the veil was thinning, and this is a really freaky one. My wife we were in bed, we were just sitting there, and I was hearing things. I was hearing voices. Not that I'm like schizophrenic or anything, but I said, "Your mom's here," and she's like, "What?" I said, "Your mom is here." I said, "She's talking to me. I can hear her." And she's like, which is astounding for me because it's very rare that I'll hear it in my head. Like I can feel it mostly. That's what I feel it mostly. And my wife, to all her credit, was like, well, you know what? I don't believe you. So ask her what her nickname for me was. Something I couldn't possibly know. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, in my head, I was like, I wouldn't possibly know that. There's no freaking way that I could know that. And I'm like, so what's your nickname for her? And the first thing that popped into my head, which her name is Amanda, was Manda Panda. And I'm sitting there and I heard it in my head. And she's like, see? And I said, Manda Panda. Just like that. Like I cut her off. She started talking and I cut her off with it. And she broke down into tears.
Oh, wow.
Because that is exactly what her mother used to call her, was Manda Panda. And it wasn't Amanda Panda. It wasn't Mandy Panda. It was Manda Panda. I said, she called you Manda Panda. And she was like, broke into tears. And I had to sit there for like 45 minutes and, be the good husband. But
yeah, you had to open that can of worms, didn't you?
Right. And then as Halloween and the veil started, it's been, it's thickened and the veil, the boundary is being reset. Nothing. It's gone. It's like my energy ebbs and flows with that, my power, whatever you want to call it. And I hate to say that. It's not like I'm out here like being, Derek Acora or anything. But yeah, it was really strange. And actually that was like only the second or third time that I'd had something that profound happen. To where, I could literally hear her mother in my head, and it wasn't like in my ears. She's just like, and now that it's over, I can't even really remember what she was saying. I just remember the Manda Panda part. She was saying things like, I can remember she's like, I'm watching over her and Jacob, tell her that, which Jacob is her son. He's my stepson. She's like, tell her that I'm watching over her and Jacob. And I'm like, she said she's watching over you and Jacob. And she's like, yeah, right. If you're really talking, if you can really hear her, what was her nickname for me? I'm like, Manda Panda. There's no possible way I could have known that.
No, there's no way.
So not sitting here saying I'm a medium or anything. I just think that we're all these shimmering lights in an otherwise dark place. And sometimes our light is really bright and it attracts them.
My friend Forrest Crawford one time told me that I was like a bug zapper in the dark.
Yeah.
That bright blue flickering light that attracts just everything.
Yeah.
He said that's why you see things and hear things, because they see you.
Yeah. And they're like, well, and maybe her mom has been trying to reach her because she's begun her own spiritual journey like within the last couple of years. And so maybe her mother has like actually been there watching over her and everything else that goes along with that.
Oh, no doubt.
And she saw me and she was
you
like,
were an opportunity to communicate.
And she was like, wow, he's really bright right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's
Yeah.
really, really bright right now. So let me see if he can hear me. And I
And
did.
you did.
Yeah.
I was walking on the treadmill one day, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, I have my friend Candy. I heard a voice I don't recognize say, "Candy's gonna have a granddaughter," and I'm like, "What?" And so I immediately got off the treadmill and I called my friend and I said, or I texted her and I said, "You're not going to believe this, but I just heard a voice tell me that you were going to have a granddaughter," which for all I knew, she just had kids.
Yeah.
All right. And
Uh-huh.
she's like, she texted me back, "Oh my God, I just was told today that my son's girlfriend is pregnant."
Isn't that?
Oh
I know,
wow.
and she goes, "How did you know that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Somebody
That's
told
right.
me, and I was supposed to tell you because it's really important that it's a girl." I
Yeah.
I haven't talked to her since to know what's happened, if it's a girl or not, but it was definitely this. You were going to have a special relationship with this child. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but so sometimes that just happens out of the blue. I'm like you.
Isn't
I
that
can't
weird?
can't control it. I wish I
Yeah.
could make it. I wish I could do it all the time
Yeah.
and help a lot of people,
Right.
but I can't. It just
It's
comes and
so,
goes.
yeah. And it's so strange because,
Random stuff.
yeah, because I mean, it's just like, so there will be times where I'm feeling absolutely powerless. Like, okay, nothing's
Hmm.
happened in a while. Did I lose it? Did I, did I piss somebody off? And then they
Yeah,
took it
yeah,
away or something.
yeah.
And
You
then,
left me here all alone. Come back.
right, and then there's times where you can't turn it off, and it's like,
Mhm.
for lack of a better way of explaining it, it's like lightning striking your brain.
It must be why we are so interested in this subject and we're so drawn to the paranormal and weird stuff because it must be connecting with something in us that somehow we've opened up
The
that,
universe.
yeah, to the universe. We're
It's the
all, I
universe.
think we're all
I think,
connected.
yeah, I do, but I think there's some that are better connected. And
Yeah,
that's why they have abilities, and that's why there's psychic mediums. That's why there is empaths. There's why
yeah,
there's clairvoyance. I think that people like that are more dialed into, I mean, for lack of a better word, a better reality
correct. Yeah.
than what other people who walk around with horse blinders on that have no clue. They're
Yeah, they
just
just got this
motoring through.
they just got, like, this very tunnel vision-esque
Yeah.
view of the world, and they're on
Mhm.
their path, and that's what a lot of people don't really understand is every person that you ever meet is doing their own thing. They're on their own path. They have their own goals. They're, on their own mission. They're whatever you want to call it. And maybe there are a few of us out here who are like meant to stop them and say, "Hey, your mom who's been dead 2 years wanted me to tell you that she's watching over you," and then
Mhm,
disappear from your life. And
Yeah.
mhm.
and you know,
Can
leave
you
that
hear
with
my
Yeah.
dog barking, by the way,
I
I
hear
Gregory?
your
can.
little dog. Yeah.
Daggone it. I'm going to have to go deal with
S
this dog.
Well, the weird thing is I
Yeah.
got my dog sedated. I gave
Oh,
I gave my one dog I gave food, and when you give him food, he just, like, crashes out, and the other one I gave beer, so
I don't know why his Sheldon is barking at me. He knows I'm here doing a show. I already told him. he,
Sheldon doesn't need a reason to bark. Come on.
yeah,
he
leaf
he he
blows across
must
the
Missy must have pooped on the floor in the living room because
Right.
he's telling on her he's a
He's tapping
rat freak.
on it. He's a damn Cindy Brady.
He's my little Karen.
That's
I mean,
Right.
that's how my Luna is, I swear. I got a boxer dog, and a leaf will
well, I
flit her.
apologize.
Oh,
Oh,
you're
you're good.
fine.
You're good.
Yeah, I love dogs,
As
so
a matter of fact, though, we're running out of time for
wow,
tonight,
yeah.
though.
I was afraid that we weren't gonna make an hour out of my stuff.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
we could probably go on for another 45 minutes to be truthful.
You're right.
I mean, you listen to the show, and
Mhm.
we're under no time constraints. We own the shit, so um now now for real though, get a digital recorder, start recording things.
Yeah, for sure.
Reach out to me and we'll talk you through things or help you out on any questions you have or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Sheldon
appreciate
will chime in, and
Maybe he's trying to tell us his paranormal stuff. You
right.
know, animals are half in, half out anyway. So,
Oh,
I think
he
they're
does
all
weird
in.
stuff all the time.
and so he's probably like, hey mom, there's a ghost over here or something.
Yeah.
Right, right. So, do you have a Facebook page or anything that you want to shoot out to anybody?
No,
And no,
I'm just a regular everyday. I just a average Joe, man. I don't.
no,
I
you're
gotta
average John,
yeah, average Johnny.
Oh, you're not average anything.
But no, I
right?
gotta. My wife would argue that, but
Hey, whoa!
but no,
But I already knew that. So,
yeah. But no, I don't have. I'm not part of anything, no groups or nothing. I just watch y'all. And Greg was like, "Hey, you want?"
Thank you
yeah,
for coming and talking to us and sharing some of your stories with us.
I
We
loved
really
it.
appreciate it. We
Thanks
we
for
loved
having
it
me.
too.
I
yeah,
love
yeah,
y'all's
dude.
show.
I
So
appreciate it. Well, thank you, thank you. And brother, we'll talk some more. I'll get you to
oh, for
start a
sure.
paranormal group out there before it's all said and done.
You're trying really hard. I can tell.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get you to do it, man, because I think that I think you get some good people with you, and you can start doing some serious stuff, man.
Well, there's lots of places here that I know that could probably
Hmm.
that I mean, it's old Omaha, so I mean, there's lots of old stuff here. Right,
Yeah.
but
Well, yeah, dude.
it's right. It was the part of the Oregon Trail and everything. So
Right. Right. So, all right, guys, I want to thank you for coming and hanging out with us tonight for Midwest Paratalk Radio. Remember, you can go to MidwestParatalkRadio.com. You can check out we have a chat over there that I haven't been on in a couple shows. Oops.
Dude.
You can catch us on for our podcast listeners. You can catch us on Midwest Paratalk Radio on YouTube. We're the only Midwest Paratalk Radio, so that's pretty bonus. Also on the MidwestParatalkRadio.com webpage, you can go to the shop. You can pick up Deb's book there on that page, as well as on Amazon. And you can catch our show on multiple podcast platforms, like I said, from everything from Spotify to iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcast, Google Podcast, all that good jazz. So
yeah,
we're not going to be doing a show next Thursday night because, well, we're all going to be in a turkey coma. Yeah.
I
Well,
can't wait.
and so, but that's going to give us some time. We're going to change a little bit of the looks of what we got going on here, and make it a little bit better for you. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can hit up gcable at midwestparatalkradio.com or hosts at npr.com. I got npr.com, by the way. So
Nice.
anyway,
Groovy.
so we want to thank you guys, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Everybody take care, and have a great Thanksgiving.
See ya.